Good morning, everyone. Grant Cohn, Coach Noah Johnston. Niners play a preseason game tomorrow. They just wrapped up joint practices yesterday with the Chargers. We're going to talk about the game. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. I think first time I've been on a Saturday. You're out there chilling in San Diego, right? No practice today.
You're Costa Mesa, which is Orange County, kind of in between LA and San Diego, and I'm flying back today. I just came for the practices. I didn't want to see a preseason game down here at SoFi. I'm missing SoFi. But like a true pro, going home to watch the game on TV, I feel like I saw the most important part, though. I came here basically to see Trey Lance take those first-team reps and to take my wife around Newport. And that was a lot of fun. We just had some good times. So
awesome.
I think it was a successful trip. But let's talk about this game. Here, like the big story, I think is a really interesting training camp because what happened was the Niners wanted Jimmy to play well. That's what they wanted. And they almost tried to speak it into existence. Like the first day, they're like, wow, you should see the look in his eye. It's amazing. The glint in his eye, so confident. And then after like 5 or 6 practices, you had national reporters all over the country saying it's the best he's ever played.
Lights out.
And they didn't even watch it. And so since then, he's tanked. It's been kind of amazing. It's like he does it every day, throws a pick every day. He's got 10 picks, 11 touchdown passes in camp. Does it matter? Like, is he losing this job in camp? Or can you just say, like, well, he's won a lot of games. He's allowed to play however he wants in camp?
Practice always matters. I mean, that's why, I know there's the famous Iverson, practice. We talk about practice, but especially in football, I mean, practice matters. It's very, 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 very rare where you have a player that is a completely different player in practice than he is in a game. When you see something special in practice, it usually translates to games and vice versa. If you see something that's not good in practice, it usually translates directly into games. I've seen it with my experience, and I've seen it with my coaching friends. I mean, I remember when I was in high school when we were undefeated and we had a crappy week of practice, and I remember our coaches hammering us, and it's like, hey, you guys are gonna lose to this team. We're playing a bad team coming up, and we did end up losing to that team. Why? Because we had bad practices, and consequently, you can see with Jimmy, right? He throws picks in actual games, right? So this isn't
the point, because I feel like people say like, hey, well, he plays better in games. He's a gamer.
No,
this is exactly how he plays in games.
Yeah, it's exactly how he plays in games. He in practice, he still has trouble completing deep balls. He's the same quarterback in practice. And I've said this before on your channel. I don't think he's fazed by like the pressure of moments. Like he'll throw the same amount of picks in the fourth quarter at the end of a game as is in the beginning. I think Jimmy is I think he does keep it. He's a level height. He keeps his composure. I don't think his issue is crapping his pants. I think his issue is that he doesn't make great decisions, and he doesn't have top level arm strength.
I feel like here's the thing: we hold his athletic limitations against him, but I mean, Drew Brees couldn't move that much and had a noodle arm, or however you want to say it. Like Jimmy actually could be a great quarterback within his limitations.
Yeah.
But what I can't get over is how often he throws interceptions for a guy who throws so many safe passes. I just can't get over it. Like, I feel like people aren't talking about it enough in this camp. I mean, his interception percentage, I've counted it, is 3.8, which is outrageously high. I mean, it's practice. It's freaking practice. And it's 3.8. The NFL average in games is 2.2. But, like, his career average is 2.9.
Right.
With the Niners, and last year it was 3.6. So I feel like this is a trend, and I feel like this is why it does matter. It absolutely matters that he's throwing these interceptions, and I feel like if it carried over from last season, it could carry over to this season, and there's really no decision for the Niners at that point. They could start Jimmy, and then he could give it away with a couple picks in the first half of week 1, the way things are trending.
It's not really. I don't really see it as a carryover. It's just who he is. It's who he is as a player. He's 8 years in the league. I mean, you can look at this just as a person, right? Like at this, he's 30 years old. Like when you're a 30-year-old person, you pretty much are who you kind of are, who you kind of develop. I mean, I know we're talking about as a player, but I mean, you can't expect this guy to turn into something something different. And when you're comparing about Drew Brees, that's where the decision making comes into play. Like, yeah, Drew Brees didn't have the arm, but I mean, he was a better deep ball thrower when he was younger, right? But Drew Brees always had the decision making. I mean,
he did. But let me say something real quick about Brees. Like, when he was with San Diego, he started 58 games for San Diego. Okay, and then he went to the Saints when he was 27 and had his breakout. Okay, Jimmy's almost 30, and in his career, he has started 32 games in his career. I think to be a great pocket quarterback, you have to get to like 60, 70, 80 starts and get all those experience, those reps. So you see all the coverages, all the tricks, all the pressure schemes. And Jimmy can't, stay healthy or play well enough to get to that number. I think what we're seeing is a very inexperienced pocket quarterback who plays like a rookie still because he's got 30 starts under his belt.
I mean, I thought when I watched Brees when he was younger in San Diego, I thought that I thought that he saw a lot of glimpses of good things. So
he was a Pro Bowler. He was a Pro Bowler in 2004 when he was 25.
Yeah, so I think it's
better.
kind of this is kind of apples and oranges conversation a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's Drew Brees.
Yeah, and I just.
But still, it took Drew Brees time to be great, and I think I don't think Jimmy's ever going to be great, but it would take him time to be whatever he could, like his full potential. He's not going to get that here, or maybe anywhere.
I mean, in my opinion, I think he's kind of. I think it's reached, in more or less. I think it's. I know injuries probably have held him back to some degree, but I kind of think he is what he is, and regardless of how much he's been injured or not.
I think he's regressing because the book's out on him. I think all the DBs on the team know, well, I don't really have to honor these out-breaking routes or these deep routes. I'll squat on all the intermediate in-breaking stuff and break up a lot of his incomplete passes get broken up.
Yeah,
get knocked down.
Absolutely.
So and I feel like the only way he's going to beat that book on him is to all of a sudden become a super processor of information and just be able to know what the defense is doing before they do it, like Drew Brees. And I don't know if he ever gets there, I'll be surprised.
Do you have your do you take notes about or have his stats what he's been in the red zone practices during practice?
I do. Let me count that up today because he's been awful.
Right, and if you guys all remember, the Niners have had red zone issues, right? They've had red zone issues. Like, I think that's a big.
Like 4 or 5 of his picks have been in the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Mullins wasn't any better, right? But you need a quarterback to operate in the red zone. That's where you're going to score points. I think Kaepernick had issues in the red zone. Like that's where you kind of make your money in the red zone. Like you need
no doubt.
Your throws are tighter and more difficult. Everything is shorter. You need to process better. I mean,
that's where you get your touchdowns. I feel like part of the reason that his TD to INT ratio is like 1-to-1, except for that one season in 2019, is because he's not that good in the red zone. And if your TD to INT ratio is 1-to-1, you're a backup quarterback. League average is 2-to-1.
If they're dead set.
Oh snap! That happens sometimes. All right, we'll give him a second to come back, but I think he will come back. You never know. I don't know. I'll just take questions. Oh, he's back. That was good. What happened?
I don't know. The Jimmy G stands coming up.
They just shut you down. It was too real.
If they're dead set on playing him, then I think they need to, when they get in the red zone, they need to put Lance in. He's just better. He gives you the running option, and even when he throws, he's just better at processing and making decisions, and he's going to throw less interceptions I think what it shows is he's going to get you more touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay. So they do matter, Jimmy's practice habits, and I think when you hear the Niners kind of like revise their tone, like we're still trying to figure out who gives us the best chance to win, and we're really impressed with both. I think Jimmy's putting him in a situation where they have to consider starting Trey Lance, whether or not they think he's quote unquote ready, because Jimmy doesn't look ready at all.
No, he looks like the same Jimmy that we've seen for years.
Yeah. All right. How should the Niners divvy up quarterback playing time against the Chargers tomorrow?
In my opinion, I think they should play Jimmy for like 2 series and let Lance play the entire rest of the game. Yeah. why is there shouldn't be any reason to play Jimmy, right? Like, you know what he is. You know what he is. Most teams don't even play the starters anyways because you kind of know what they are. They, just get them a little bit, just get them a little used to it. And then you know what Nate Sudfeld is, and you're not making a decision on your third quarterback. You already cut Josh Rosen. Lance needs reps. I know we're big
whether or not he's the week 1 starter, he needs reps.
Right. We're big on he needs reps to the first team, and I absolutely agree with that. But I think he just needs reps, period.
He needs all the reps.
Right. I was watching Colin Cowherd. He was like, they should just play him the entire preseason. Don't play anybody. And I don't, it's true.
I mean, don't get him sacked 7 times. I understand that he's playing behind a bad offensive line the second half, but there's so many things you can do to get him good experience, even with backups, that they didn't necessarily do last time. But no, real quick, I think they definitely take out Jimmy after the second series and play Trey Lance with the starters. He already said the starters are going to play into the second quarter. Great. Okay. Trey Lance should play multiple series with them then.
Right. And when the Chargers start heating him up, because that's what they're going to do with young quarterbacks, you always heat them up, especially when you blitz them. Kyle, screen them. Make them do what they're doing to your guy is they're playing the game. They're playing the game. You need to play it back.
Yeah, absolutely. And just protect your guy. I mean, I understand you want him to practice executing from the pocket. That's a great thing to do in preseason. Screen passes you execute from the pocket. That's something he should be practicing. He doesn't need to practice taking 7 hits, big ones, in the pocket every game. I mean, in the regular season, you're going to want him to get out of the pocket and use his legs. So let him at least protect himself, and you protect him too. But let's see him early in the first quarter and then through the second, into the third, playing with the backups for the sake of reps. Absolutely. I mean, if he plays the entire third quarter, that's fine. But as long as it's productive, not total chaos out there.
Yeah, they started to protect him a little bit at the end of the game. I think the last game. I mean, you know what, like, Kyle's go when his quarter starts beating up. You know what his go-to is. His the gun formation with two in the backfield. One of them's a tight end, and he just maxes it out. I think that was like the last third down with Trey Lance at the end of the last game. But use that, Kyle.
The way he uses Trey Lance in practice is he lets him throw on non-obvious throwing situations, and in obvious throwing situations he often runs. So like 3rd and 15 yesterday, quarterback draw, it worked. Like on 3rd and you can do 3rd and short yardage, zone read. I think that's a good way to use Trey Lance, because when they got him in that 2-minute drill and the end of the first half, like, that's accentuating all of his inexperience. Straight drop back, they know it. Stay in one place, execute, make quick decisions, be accurate. Like, good luck, dude. That's the game.
He definitely needs to be protected. I mean, I think if the offensive line is going to be bad, it's going to be bad week 1. I almost would hesitate to. I've been a big proponent of starting Trey Lance. I don't believe. I think the biggest thing that can halt any development of a rookie quarterback is pressure. That's why I don't believe in. I think when you get a rookie quarterback, you got to have that O-line set. Don't worry about your skill positions and all that. Fix your O-line first, because if their internal clock gets sped up and then they start reverting, then they're going to start reverting to bad habits, and then they're not going to be able to really learn at a pace that it's going to create more bad habits and all those things.
Because you just go into survival mode, not like actually. Let me ingrain the mechanics and all the techniques I've been working on. It's like, oh, that goes out the window.
Yep. The NFL. I mean, the pass rush is going to be. It's fast. It's faster as it is. Like, you don't want to make it even worse. So if Trent Williams is out and that O-line is not good, I think I would really hesitate about playing Trey Lance.
That's a fair point. But real quick, all I want to say is that the wrinkle in this plan, is Jimmy. You could want to be conservative and safe here for the sake of Trey's long-term development and put Jimmy in there, and he could get hurt. He's not.
Well, if he gets hurt, I mean, it is. I mean, and I gotta play it.
He got hit 12 times last year and got hurt 2 times. Like, how many hits can he really take? I don't know. He's a little bit made of glass. Unlike, Nick Mullins kept getting up last year. Jimmy was like, "That's 12. I'm done." That's it. 12 is enough. That is my number for this year. I don't know, man. He's like the worst bridge quarterback you could imagine. It's like durable, throws a lot of picks. Yeah. I mean, like what's going? Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of secretly hope they start Jimmy week 1. I think it'll be like unreal. Everyone's gonna be expecting it. It's like every throw. Oh, I'm just saying, like the thing about Jimmy that's killing me right now. I keep comparing him to Barry Zito, late career Barry Zito. It's like he's throwing 84-mile-an-hour fastballs. People are just like defensive players' eyes light up, and when the ball's in the air, it's like 8 people get their hands on it. When he misses, it's a pass breakup or a near pick almost every time. So I feel like what they're gonna do to come back to the original point of this topic, Jimmy's playing time, like 2 series, bunch of dink and dunks. Don't extend, like just make him look. He should be 6 for 6. 4 for 4, just like he was last week. And don't make him do anything. He cannot throw a pick on television. That can't happen. Don't let it happen.
Yeah. And similarly, you have to protect Lance as well. Like protect him. Like,
make it look good. Build him some self-confidence. Build up some confidence in the team with him, because that's what they're doing in New England with Mac Jones. That's what they're doing in Chicago with Justin Fields. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Yeah. I'm not saying coddle him, but put him in here. It's like what the reason I raised my hand, I didn't raise my hand, but I asked that question for Shanahan. It's like, last week about the rollouts and stuff. It's like, I understand that it's a preseason game. It doesn't count, but still, I always thought that the coach's job was to put players in positions to be successful. And what he did in the last game was put Lance in position to be unsuccessful and learn from it. That's fine. But, come on, put him in positions to be successful like you do in practice. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you can blend it. You can
blend it. Yeah.
And I think it's also, I understand probably what they're trying to do is trying to get him to use the pocket, because you're going to have to be effective from the pocket.
You don't have to be great, but you have to be effective. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I understand that, but there's also the element of the offensive line being bad and him getting and him, so you have to kind of weigh that and kind of balance it. It's not the perfect situation, but you know what? It's NFL football. Like you're rarely going to get perfect situations, and you got to figure it out.
Yeah. All right. What else are you looking for in this game other than the quarterbacks?
Obviously, I think everyone's going to be looking at all the rookies, right? Like they're going to, I think Hufanga showed up in the last game. I think he's a fan favorite, so a lot of people are going to see what does he bring. The 2 corners, I think, the 2 rookie corners. How do they show in the next game? I mean, I think a lot of people were high on Diamador and kind of low on Ambry. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched the all 22 yet, but to me, it didn't look like Ambry was as bad as people made him out to me, and it didn't look like Diamador was as good as good. Yeah. I mean, that interception kind of just fell in his hands. I mean, that that out route was dropped and then went right in his hand.
He was open. It was a bad throw. Hit off the right shoulder. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. He kind of benefited from bad coverage on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 2 thing, and I think Ambry had 2 in-breaking routes. The first one he had pretty tight coverage on it, and it was a good throw. Mm-hmm. The second one was a little looser, but if you got to always remember down distance, it was like I want to say it was like 3rd and 12 or something like that. Yeah. And the guy made a catch, and then Hufanga came up and made a stop, and it was a turnover, not turnover on downs, but it was got the 4th down and punt. Yeah. So like I'm not going to kill a DB because he was
Please
sitting
don't
on
kill a DB. I would hate you to do that. Please don't.
What?
Please don't kill.
I'm not gonna. For me, he if you're on that situation, that DB is going to be thinking, okay, I got to stop all routes that are going to lead to a first down. If he wants to run across the middle and catch it for 7 when it's 3rd and 15, I know that I have a free safety there. He should help make the stop.
Yeah.
And he did.
I think this cornerback position is the most important position to watch other than quarterback because, well, offensive line too, but I want to focus on the secondary for a second because the Niners, it's not that they gave Emmanuel Mosley a lot of money, but there's no one, like they really committed to him as a starter, and he's hurt right now. And he was hurt in 2018. He missed all but 1 game. He missed 4 games last year. He's never started more than 9 games in a season. I mean, you don't really know what you have with him. If he gives you half a season, if he gives you 8 starts, maybe that's all you can expect. So they're going to need someone else to actually start games opposite Jason Verrett. And it can't be Dante Johnson. Can't be BW
No.
Webb. It's got to be one of these two rookies. So we got to see which one improves from last week.
Right, and I do love that they are playing them a lot. Like they should be doing the same thing with Lance. Like play him.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it. Like play all these guys a lot. There's no reason like
accelerate the learning curve.
Yeah, don't play BW Webb and like these guys and like just get the guys in there that you need to like. I love that they played they played Hufanga a lot. They played the guy that I like. Why am I drawing? Yeah, but they played Jermaine almost the entire game.
Yeah,
I love that. Like, play the guys that you need to get looks at. Just give them time. Like, play them a lot. Like, because there's certain guys they're not gonna make they're not making your roster. Like, they're just bodies out there for camp. You don't need to get those guys heavy reps. I'm sorry, whoever you are, guys, but it's just the nature of the biz.
I'm also looking at the wide receiver spot because this Debo thing is not good. I mean, it looks like he pulled his hamstring or something close to his hamstring, which is what he did a bunch of times last year. And that's terrible.
I was pleased with pretty much last week. I mean, the receivers to me that stood out from that were in my eyes got negative grades were Benjamin and James.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to, you could dock you because he had the one drop, but like we know what I can do, right? So he is what he is. And then you have the added benefit of if you keep Jordan Matthews on this roster, he can plug and play as a receiver if need be. So
that's a good point.
Right. So like there's a lot of different things you can do with the wide receiver.
I feel like 5 spots are locked up though. It's basically Debo, Ayuk, Sanu, Sherfield, and Jennings. Jennings has played pretty well. So they could keep 1 or 2 more wide receivers. Is it going to be Jalen Hurd? Is it going to be Benjamin, James, Webster? I'm kind of who's going to get that last wide receiver spot? I think it's still up for grabs. I don't know if the Niners have decided. They'd probably like to give it to Jalen Hurd, but he's got to play, and I don't see him doing that.
I almost think it's got to be one of the faster guys, just because they have the big body guys.
It'll be like Jennings or Hurd, right?
Yeah, and you're probably gonna need one of those guys to be a special teamer, returner, or something like that. So I'm gonna think
Richie James or Travis Benjamin. Richie James.
Probably.
Why would you keep the older guy? Yeah, why would you keep the older guy?
Well, not only that is, I mean, in games, Richie James has balled out for you.
Yeah, he has.
In games. I know hasn't made good practices and been dropping balls.
He caught a ball from Trey Lance, whether it was either yesterday or the day before, I forget. But it was like I couldn't freaking believe it. It was a deep out. He used his hands. I was like, wow, good for Richie. So don't count him out yet.
Right.
He still had moments.
Travis Benjamin, right? He had a good week of practice from what I can hear.
Yeah, he had that touchdown catch from Jimmy Garoppolo. He's kind of like Mohamed Sanu, where Kyle Shanahan loves him, and it's like he's giving him 1,000 opportunities to do something, but he hasn't exactly been as good as Sanu this offseason.
Okay.
Yeah. He also looks like he weighs 155 pounds. It's kind of amazing to watch him on a football field. Whoa, Travis Benjamin. But he's fast. He is fast. And he has maybe better hands than Richie James. I don't know. Neither one.
I'm trying to remember. Did he catch like 600 yards in San Diego? Was it like 6 or 7 his career?
Hold on, real quick. I think he had a couple of years. Travis Benjamin, real quick, just for
I think he was Browns, and that's how
900 yards for the Browns in 2015, and then 600 yards for the Chargers the next year.
That's why Kyle likes him, right? That was
he's produced.
It was 900 under Kyle, right?
It was 900 under Kyle. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? No. Hold on. No. The year after Kyle. Kyle.
But
Kyle
was he on the roster when Kyle was there?
Yes. Yes, he was. End of story. Okay. The Niners have a trend of undrafted free agent players making an impact in their second year in the league. The first year they're in there, they look like undrafted free agents who don't quite belong. But the Niners have a good eye for them, and they find guys who work hard. They have a good program for them. And by year 2, they often have a couple of guys who are NFL caliber, maybe even started caliber players. In the past, it was Ross Dwelly, Kevin Givens. Now, which guys are on your radar in this category?
I think isn't Al Shazier one of those? Was he
He
UDFA?
was, yeah, I think he's been around a couple of years, but he was definitely one of them. He went from undrafted to starter.
Yeah. So I think there's three that stand out to me, and we'll start on offense first. The first one is JaMycal Hasty. He's a guy that you've touted.
Yeah,
I think I saw where he caught the ending touchdown from practice yesterday. Right. He's had, by all accounts, a good camp. He looked good on film last game. I mean, he looked good on film when he was playing last year.
I agree. I think I think his body looks different this year. I think he looks stronger.
Yeah, I keep hearing about like change of pace backs, but like to me, just take the four best backs. Like, regardless of what their skill set is, just take whoever the four best running backs are, just take them. And I think he's one of your best. One of them. Yeah, he's one of your best four. He's already produced in actual NFL games. Like he's already produced. So to me, there's no questions about him. Like he should be on there, I think, and if he should get some carries and some usage. Just find a way to use him. The next one, defensively, Jonas Griffith stood out to me in the last game. He's a guy that I didn't hear anything about him in camp. I didn't even know. I kind of forgot he was on the roster. I didn't hear anything in camp about him last week and the weeks before. And all of a sudden in the game, this guy's popping, right? He's filling gaps. And the thing that stood out to me was his coverage. Like there was one where he was playing the hole, and they played a lot of man free that game, and they got a crosser, and he started to jump the crosser, and I don't remember who the DB was, but got a hand on it. I think it was Webb, got a hand on it, and then Jonas Griffith could have gotten an interception. He was right there in position, but he just couldn't make the play.
He intercepted Trey Lance like that. It was Lance was trying to fire one through the defense over the middle, and Griffiths just reached up and grabbed it. Like, it was very impressive.
Right. So then the next one that I saw was he showed a A gap. I think it was a double A gap blitz by both linebackers. He showed and then bailed out and got a hand on another one. Didn't make the play, but he knocked it down. Could have been another pick. So he's shown the ability to be good in pass coverage. Then when I saw that, I started like, well, let me look up this guy. And there's his pro day video is actually online. I think he ran a 4.62.
Oh wow.
He had
he's
good
6'4", he weighs 250.
He's 6'4". And that's the other thing. Like and I when you and I were DMing, I compared him a lot to Fred Warner, like another lengthy linebacker. Fred Warner was a 4'6", 4'6", 4'6", guy.
That's true.
That's his fluid movement. He's and then like KJ Wright too in the Seattle scheme. And if they can develop this guy, and imagine if he starts instead of Al-Shaair, now you have a 6'4", 250 linebacker, and then a 6'3", 250 linebacker. Those are your two starting linebackers. Like, imagine the things that you can do with that. Like,
correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like one of the benefits of having such a tall linebacker is when you're in, say, zone coverage and they're right in front of the quarterback and the quarterback has to throw passes over the linebackers. It's hard.
Yeah, that and I just think right now, I think a lot of the advantages that the offensive gets in the passing game comes from the mismatches that a tight end provides, right? The tight end is bigger than safeties, right? So like, and is more athletic than linebackers. So when you get a linebacker that has movement skills and also gives you the length, that eliminates a lot of that, right? So now you could take the best one. Who's better in man versus a tight end? Is it Warner or is it Griffith? And Ward. You can match them, right? You can match it if you don't. Or if you could match Ward, you could match Ward in the slot. You could. It gives you a lot of different things that you can do with your defense, and like you said, the added length in zone helps as well. So, I think Jonas Griffith is trending up, and he's a guy that possibly I think he's going to make the roster, but he could end up possibly starting up at that Sam position if
Michael Kendricks and Shair,
yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Jared Maiden played. I've touted this guy for a while. He played almost the entire game last week. As I recall, I think there was a seam he didn't have great position on. The guy didn't end up catching it. But aside from that, from what I saw, he played really well last game. They removed him. He played free, and then they moved him down in the slot, just like they used Jimmy Ward, and he was covering guys man to man. I know he got beat sometimes in practice, but all DBs get beat in practice. I saw Verrett got beat by San Diego receivers too. So I mean,
it happens.
It happens. So he's a guy I'm interested to see, A, how much they play him in this game, and then B, how well he does, because I think they're looking for, at the very least, they're looking for safety depth, and I think he could be a guy that could surprise and be the third safety, or possibly start. I think he has the athleticism. I've talked about it before. He's played all over at Alabama, and he gives you a lot of the same things that Ward can give you. And if he can just give you those things to even at a lesser degree, then if Ward can't play for some reason, you can plug and play, and you don't have to change your defense.
Yeah. Sebastian says, how does Debo's injury history affect his next contract? A big time. It's going to cost him hella money if he keeps having hamstring injuries. Because I mean, tremendously. He's got to work this out. Last topic. Okay. It seems like the Niners have 4 good offensive linemen on their team. And after that, it's kind of dire. I mean, I don't know if they have a starting caliber right guard on the roster. Maybe Brunskill is, although he's really struggling in camp. And then after that, their backups pretty rough. One of them is now – I mean, Trent Williams should be back week 1, so let's not even go there. But do you think – like, is this such a critical issue that it's going to hold the Niners back from being as good as they could be?
I think so.
I think it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, especially I talked about it before about how I think the offensive line is so critical to the development of a young quarterback. And if their starting offensive line is going to have problems, and then there's no depth behind it, because I guarantee you they're going to have an injury at some point in the year. Someone's going to have to fill in for somebody. You don't, if you're going to end up playing Lance, you don't want to have him feeling pressure and getting crushed. I know there's a lot of things you can do to protect him, but and then obviously we know that the Jimmy has durability issues, right? So, you know, whether it's Jimmy or Lance in there, I think it's problematic. And then additionally, especially from what I've seen in the preseason, they haven't really been able to run the ball that effectively either. So if they can't run the ball effectively, and I know part of it too is Kyle's not really scheming, so he can scheme open runs, but if they can't run the ball effectively, then they're not a great pass protecting line as it is. So I mean, there's Trent Williams, and then that's it as far as like great pass protectors on that line.
You know, it's interesting that the Niners drafted Trey Sermon. He may turn out to be a fine player, but they really needed to get to nail the cornerback spot and to nail this, and to probably get another wide receiver too. And they got Trey Sermon. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know about Eric Banks.
I mean, I just, to me, and this is my overall, I think with this team and this front office and who they have, they shouldn't draft running backs and linebackers high, because they've proven they can find them. Like, look at Jonas Griffith, look at Al Shazier, look at Dre Greenlaw, look at even in Fred Warner, right? Right. Yeah. You guys have proven you can take lesser picks and make them into all pros.
Yeah.
You can take UDFAs and make them into starters. You don't need to be – it's like it's like if you're a country and you have a bunch of oil, but you're still importing oil. Why? Like importing
Yeah, I always feel like the
apples.
Niners are like, well, we don't really have that many needs, so let's just go for the running back here. It's like, well, you kind of have a need at wide receiver. I mean, if
Yeah,
Debo keeps getting hurt, those kind
and,
of things. Yeah.
and running back. I mean, this staff has the guy that's been coaching their running backs has been doing it since he was on the Broncos, finding random guys and like turning them $1,000.
Yeah.
$1,000.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. I mean, the Shanahan, I've been doing this since I was like in third grade. I don't get it.
That's why use these things that you do well as an asset, because it means you can take your picks and you don't have to pick a running back high. You don't have to pick a linebacker high. Go use it on stuff that you don't do well and give yourself more chances, like at corner, I mean, at guard,
Right.
at tackle,
Jody says, Grant, the season we went to the Super Bowl, didn't Jimmy throw 6 interceptions in one day? Everyone was doomsday then too. Why so much focus this go around? Well, I think it's the fact that it's not that Jimmy's thrown 6 in one day. It's every day. He makes the same mistake every day. And I feel like it's a carryover also from last season when he threw a bunch of picks last year. I think it's also showing why the Niners traded up for Trey Lance. It's not because Jimmy gets hurt sometimes. It's because he throws all these interceptions and makes big mistakes even when he's playing well. If they just wanted someone like an insurance policy for him when he's hurt, they would have taken Mac Jones at 12 or Kellen Mond in round 3. Like, they have big problems with Jimmy because of this stuff. And I think it's an issue. Like, also, he's been in the league 2 years longer. You'd think he would fix this at some point, and he's not. I think it's a problem. And it's not like they're, making up their mind about Jimmy Garoppolo. They already traded for his replacement. They already had the referendum on him. This is just further confirmation of why they made the decision they did.
Yeah, and if you look at even the most people would tout 2019 as his most successful year, he was like, I think he was like 5th or 6th had the 5th or 6th highest interception rate
while throwing like the lowest air yards per attempt, or like bottom 3 with Breeze and Carr.
Right. And most people know this, but turnovers are one of the major determining win-loss factors. So,
much bigger than third down conversion percentage.
If you have a quarterback that's turning the ball over, you're less
either winning in spite of him, basically.
Think about what the Niners could have done if that year in 2019, if they had a top 10 one of those higher level quarterbacks, they may have been undefeated. To me, it just shows you how good that team was that year. I mean, they won in the playoffs without a quarterback. I mean, Jimmy did make some plays in the Super Bowl, right? I think he left a lot on the field, and we all know the post he didn't hit, but they did actually have to use him in the Super Bowl. But like in the versus the Vikings, and obviously, and then Green Bay, it was like a I mean, Green Bay was pretty much the Mostert game, and then Kyle shut him down versus the Vikings because he threw the pick, right? So I just think people attribute so much success to him, and I think it's fair, because I do think there is some of that. Like I do think you can attribute an intangible quality to winning with quarterbacks. You see it in Tom Brady. So I'll give him some of that, but I just don't think his things that he does, the things that he does wrong don't supersede. They're not good enough to supersede the intangibles that he brings.
I feel like the people in Jimmy's corner are like, look, don't overanalyze practice. He wins in games. And what I say is like, no, he used to. If you look at his last 10 starts, I want to say 11 starts, like the 6 last year, the 3 in the Super Bowl, and the last 2 in 2019, the 3 in the playoffs and the last 2 in 2019. He's, what is that? That's 11. I think he's 6-5. And I think he's got a TD to INT ratio of 1-to-1, 10 picks, 10 touchdowns in those last 11 games. And then you look at him in camp this year, 11 touchdowns, 10 picks. It's the same thing. And everyone was like, well, he was hurt last year. Well, he wasn't hurt the last 2 weeks of 2019. He wasn't hurt in the playoffs. He wasn't hurt week 1. I mean, a lot of people played through injuries. I think this is a trend. I think he's regressing. I think the book is out on him, and I think we're seeing a long, slow collapse. I think we're still seeing it.
Let me ask you a question on this. Do you think Do you think if the stats were flipped in practice and Trey Lance were throwing all these
I
picks,
tweeted this.
would people be like, "Oh, you can't play him. You can't play him. He's throwing interceptions." Dude.
Yeah,
like,
he's got to learn to not throw picks in practice before you can even give him a chance in the game. But when Jimmy does, it's like, hey, we're talking about practice. It's no big deal. That's what bugs me. I feel like they're graded on totally different scales. Jimmy can do whatever the hell he wants in practice because I don't know. And Trey has to be perfect. I don't like that. And like every day, it's a referendum on Trey. Well, he was 8 for 14. I mean, he missed some throws high. What about Jimmy's interception? Well, he bounced back after the interception. Who cares if he bounced back after the interception? It was freaking practice. He shouldn't have thrown the interception to begin with.
And the difference is it should be the reverse because Lance is the rookie when he's making mistakes in practice.
That's the place to make them. Yeah.
Right. Or even in the game, if he misses stuff in the game, he's going to be more liable to correct those things because younger players do. That's why as a coach, even in high school, if I've got two guys that are close, I'm playing the younger kid because he's going to get that experience is going to be more value to him, and there's going to be more of a chance of him developing at a greater rate than the older guy. And we're talking about 8 years versus 0 years.
0 years, yeah.
So and the fact alone, if
when
Lance
Jimmy Garoppolo got drafted, Trey Lance was in middle school.
If Lance is going to walk in the door and like let's say he misses like he's erratic a little bit, but he doesn't turn the ball over, I'll take that over what Jimmy brings because he's not going to turn the ball over, and he's still going to be able to make
and he'll make big plays as well. And Jimmy doesn't make big plays, does turn the ball over. That's a frustrating combination. It's frustrating. How are you doing that? You're a game manager. Manage the game.
Right, and I'm going to tell you guys, you're going to start seeing. I think if Jimmy is turning the ball over and he is playing, he's turning the ball over. The defense is going to be the first ones that are going to start clamoring for Lance because those are the guys. Defense, we hate quick change. We make a stop and then we got to go back out there because the quarterback just threw a pick, and then it makes us look bad because we just stopped these guys. And now we're going to go back. We're on our own 30, and then we give them a touchdown, and everyone's like, "Oh, your defense sucks." Well, you put us on the 30. Like
that's a good point. Joshua says I'm all for Lance, but Jimmy is a gutsy thrower, and some of those passes we are never going to see from Lance.
What?
Joshua, I don't know
Joshua, did you watch the last game? That was
I love you, Joshua. God love you. I don't really feel like arguing this on you because I feel like we're just seeing something different, but.
Thanks for that 5. Thanks for that. I
appreciate
cool
it, man. Give Lance a chance. I watch him a lot. He really thinks he can throw the ball through the defense. He's like far. You ever hear coaches say that little football cliche? He can throw the ball through the car wash and not get it wet.
Yeah,
that's Lance. He throws that hard. He's not really worried about underneath coverage. He thinks he can power it through everything. So Jimmy, on the other hand, is over here throwing just 3 flies up off his back foot. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But I appreciate the donation. I'm not going to ridicule someone who's giving me $5. I just see it differently, man. So have a good one. That's our show today. I got to go catch a flight and get back so I can watch this game on television like a true pro. Coach, thank you. Oh, hold on. James. The Niners haven't drafted a good O-line since 2010. Ooh, that's true. When are you going to step up as QC coach for the draft? You take too many offseason maintenance days.
Oh, ouch.
That's true. You're right, man.
He'll watch film this year. Watch film this year. Watch the draft prospects.
They need help. Adam Peters ain't getting it done on the O-line. Trent Baalke's laughing over here. Although Trent Baalke drafted Josh Garnett, so he shouldn't be laughing. Phrase 32 says, Grant, why so cynical sometimes? You have some decent takes, but sometimes it feels like you're going for Bayless-like over-the-top takes. See, here's the thing, the difference between me and the guy with the spreadsheet. I feel like I just say what I feel definitively. And other ways to do sports journalism is to kind of just ride the fence and hedge your bets and not give too much praise or criticism to anyone. That way you don't anger any fans like Phrase who want to hear a specific. No, I'm not saying some fans want to hear a specific thing. And if you kind of sort of never take a stand, you please those fans. So I don't think that I'm cynical. I'm just being honest, and I'm not always right. So keep that in mind.
Right. But and when you are wrong, you've walked things back before. So it's.
Oh, yeah. I walk back hard. I don't have too much pride to do that. I'm a world champion backpedaler. Let me just say.
Yeah.
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 And on that note, that's the end of the.
Yeah, guys, real quick, just to let you guys know, I've been talking to Rob Shue, and I think we're aiming to do play-by-play next week for the next game. So keep tuned on that. We'll probably be on Rob's channel. So yeah, so you don't have to hear you guys don't have to hear Trey area. No.
I bet you Rob says it though. Make sure you say it. Get it right. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. See you guys. Thanks.